Hello Internet, my name's Cody. Today we're going to be talking about Philip DeFranco and his coverage on Alex Jones. I think he did a poor job, and I'm going to point it out. Just for some context, I've been subscribed to Philip DeFranco for about 4 or 5 years. He's one of my news sources just in my life. I don't really go to cable that much, so he's one of the internet sources I like to, and this is the first time I've seen him do quite a very poor job at the news, and I think I can do better, and I'm going to show him how he could do better. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
Sup, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Monday.
You know, I've been waiting 4 to 5 years to say this, Philip, okay? I'm not a beautiful bastard, alright? You're the bastard. For calling me one. For like 5 years.
Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it.
Hit that like button, nation. But only the American nation. If you're from a different nation, dislike it, you know?
And the first thing we're going to talk about today is Alex Jones and InfoWars. And the reason we're talking about this is in recent weeks, tech companies and streaming services have been removing content from Alex Jones and InfoWars. Last week, we saw Spotify remove some of Alex Jones' InfoWars podcasts, saying they contain hate speech. Last month, we saw Facebook remove 4 videos from Jones-affiliated pages, as well as suspending Jones from posting on the site for 30 days. And here they cited violations of its bullying and hate speech policies. And on YouTube, we saw them take down 4 videos from Jones' channel, saying they violated its policies on hate speech and child endangerment. And now, over the weekend, things have ramped up. Apple joined in, removing Alex Jones' content from iTunes and its podcasting app, specifically confirming they removed the entire library of 5 of InfoWars' 6 podcasts, including The Alex Jones Show and War Room. And Apple released a statement saying, Apple does not tolerate hate speech, and we have clear guidelines that creators and developers must follow to ensure we provide a safe environment for all of our users. Podcasts that violate these guidelines are removed from our directory, making them no longer searchable or available for download or streaming. We believe in representing a wide range of views so long as people are respectful to those with differing opinions. And following Apple's announcement, Facebook this morning announced that they had removed 4 Alex Jones and InfoWars pages. And as far as the reason for removal, the company said, we're glorifying violence, which violates our graphic violence policy, and using dehumanizing language to describe people who are transgender, Muslims, and immigrants, which violates our hate speech policies. Facebook also saying that they removed the pages after receiving an unspecified number of additional reports of community standards violations. And the company also clarified that the removal was not related to fake news complaints, saying, while much of the discussion around InfoWars has been related to false news, which is a serious issue that we are working to address by demoting links marked wrong by fact checkers and suggesting additional content, none of the violations that spurred today's removals were related to this.
Alright, so I like to take this time. So everything he said up to this point is true. They removed Alex Jones shows and Facebook groups and such. But there's a huge problem here, because if Facebook says, oh, it's fake news, take it down. And I'm not saying Alex Jones doesn't have a bunch of fake news. He thinks demons are real, and
she is a demon. She is an abject, psychopathic demon from hell that as soon as she gets into power is going to try to destroy the planet. I'm sure of that, and people around her say she's so dark now and so evil and so possessed that they are having nightmares, they're freaking out.
Possessed Hillary and stuff, but never the right-wing party. So clearly he has a bias, and he's wacko with the demons and stuff. But if Facebook can determine who and who isn't fake news, then you're allowing corporations to pretty much grant free speech to people. That's terrible. When you consider the corporations can have influence over what you can hear or not hear, what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say, it sets this awful precedent that the corporations will be able to control the information you get. This is pretty much the start of that. Alex Jones had a pretty big following. He was a goofy guy, don't get me wrong. But in the name of free speech, let him say his goofy shit, okay? I know he said, like, Sandy Hook was an inside job, alright? I think it's wrong. There's no evidence to support that other than his goofy hunch or whatever he goes off of. But when you don't let people be incorrect, let's say, on the internet, then you're giving the corporations, here, you tell me what to think, you tell me what I'm allowed to say. it's kind of, I'm rounding a little bit, but it's the start of that. And eventually they're going to take off someone else, maybe someone else who has wacko conspiracy theories like Alex Jones. And then they're going to take someone off who criticizes their platform. And then they're going to take off another person who criticizes their platform. And then someone's going to pay Facebook money to take someone they don't like off their platform. And that's just going to keep going and going until it's way out of control. And eventually the amount of people that are allowed on the internet or allowed on Facebook or Spotify or YouTube is just going to shrink and shrink and shrink until the people are left that will do whatever those companies say. And then those companies are going to tell them what to say based on the money they get. So someone's going to lobby for Facebook and be like, I'll give you $100,000 if you take this page off. And you can tell right away that's going to go downhill. So pretty much whoever has the most money gets their political views in, and since the companies control what you can and can't see, that's the only perspective you get. So it gives this extremely biased opinion of what, even though the average person doesn't think that, that's what they think everyone thinks, because that's the only input they're getting, and they're not getting a very diverse, wide of, even if it's wrong, not a diverse amount of ideas. The internet needs as many ideas as it can get, because the internet is extremely good at weeding them out. Maybe not in one day. Given 1,000 years, it'll pretty much have the best accuracy you can imagine. The most true things are going to float to the top. The most inaccurate things are going to float to the bottom. And that's just how the internet works. People are pretty good at sniffing out BS. Now, obviously they're human, they're flawed, they're going to miss some stuff, like Alex Jones. I think he actually believes that too. I think he believes the goofy stuff he says. It's unfortunate, but I don't think he's lying. He's right about some things, but he got way blown out of proportion just because he got banned. And these people who think that you can ban the political opposition and think that just solves it, it's not true. Because they're gonna go somewhere else on the internet, and the internet's quite the large place, so I mean YouTube's not everything, and YouTube's dying. So anyway, where were we?
And today, joining Facebook, we also saw Spotify removing every episode of The Alex Jones Show from its platform. Before, they had just removed some, now all. And as far as the reasoning here, a spokesperson for the company said, due to repeated violations of Spotify's prohibited content policies, The Alex Jones Show has lost access to the Spotify platform. Now, following these moves and announcements, we saw InfoWars editor-at-large Paul Joseph Watson posting several tweets this morning, calling this a chilling precedent for free speech, saying this is coordinated big tech censorship, saying this is a coordinated move ahead of the midterms to help Democrats.
All right, this Joseph Watson, he works for Alex Jones, so he has a bunch of goofy beliefs too. That's okay. Everybody has a goofy belief at some point in their life, and they just don't realize it. He is kind of right though. It is part of free speech. YouTube has the ability to kick any creator they desire off their platform. They can just point their finger or just push a button, and their channel is deleted. And, technically they're not prohibiting anyone's free speech. However, when a bunch of companies, all within a 24-hour period, all delete the same creator, clearly they're all talking together. Clearly they have this agenda that they want to push. They just started the ban train. And they're just going to, do you think they're going to ban more or less people from this? They're just getting it started. They're just going to ban more people. Paul Joseph Watson he's semi-correct. It is a free speech issue. However, as long as it's not the government and it's within the legal right of the company to ban him, they technically didn't break any laws. However, I would keep an eye out on this story and see where Alex Jones goes next. He might start his own website. He might go to BitChute or some other third-party kind of low-ranking video platform. If he does go to a different platform, that platform is going to get it's going to get a lot more traction than it normally would have. With a big name like Alex Jones even if he does say goofy stuff, people do watch him. People will want to watch what now he has to say.
Additionally, we saw Alex Jones tweeting this morning, asking what conservative news outlet will be next. And I thought for at least today, that is where this story ended, but as I was recording this story, YouTube has now banned Alex Jones. And this coming after reportedly last month where Jones received a strike on his YouTube channel after posting videos that were said to contain hate speech against Muslim and transgender people, as well as including footage of a child being shoved to the ground. And so as a result of that, his live streaming privileges were suspended for 90 days, but Jones reportedly attempted to circumvent the suspension by live streaming on other channels. So then YouTube removed his channel and issued the statement saying all users agree to comply with our terms of service and community guidelines when they sign up to use YouTube. When users violate these policies repeatedly, like our policies against hate speech and harassment or our terms prohibiting circumvention of our enforcement measures, we terminate their accounts. And so for now, that is where we are with this story. As far as my personal takeaway, I think it's pretty obvious that this is a move made by the globalist, elitist, leftist lizard people meant to suppress free speech and the truth. And by the truth, of course, I mean things like peddling conspiracy theories like Pizzagate, promoting that. Also that time when I said, you know, the murdered kids from Sandy Hook, they were crisis actors. Or maybe, I guess more recently, like when InfoWars blamed the wrong person for being the Parkland shooter.
Okay, so clearly he's just mocking him here. Fine, whatever. Those are ridiculous things to say. Lizard people, Parkland shooting, all that. However, Philip, when you ban him, you give those stupid, ridiculous things he said credit. Because when he says, oh, lizard people this, lizard people that, and he gets banned, then all of a sudden the people are like, maybe the lizard people frickin' did it. Or the people who covered up Sandy Hook or whatever. You give his stupid arguments weight when you ban him, alright? Stop doing that, okay? It happened to Milo too. Milo was on the right, he said some goofy shit, and then he got banned, and then what happened after that was the important part. A lot of people flocked to him. He has his own show now, and it's probably because of that. Because you set this precedent, and it's like, oh, the establishment doesn't want me to hear what this guy has to say. I want to watch this guy now. Okay, I want to know what he has to say. Philip, this is why your like-dislike ratio is, we'll call it 3/4, right? Normally he does a lot better than this. Normally it's way closer to like 90%, 10%. But this one is, this isn't going to age well. This is not going to age well, Philip, alright? That dislike bar is just going to get larger and larger the more people get banned. It all starts with, if they can ban someone, they can. So Alex Jones just got there first. I wonder what religion Alex Jones is. I'll guess Christian, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. But just wait. The ball's gonna go, because it's gonna start with Alex Jones. Probably got banned because he was a conservative. He said some goofy, crazy crap that allowed YouTube to be like, oh, he lied about this, so therefore we can just ban him. And but then you got to watch out. It's the next step, because they're gonna keep banning a couple conservatives here and there. But then the real problems are gonna start when they start banning people based on money. This probably was based on money too, not as much as you might think. However, if every company takes bribes, if every company bans based on political ideology, then it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
And that's the most of the voice I'm going to do. As far as my real opinion, I'm personally surprised it took so long for Alex Jones and InfoWars to be banned.
I think a YouTube executive wrote that part in his script. That was probably the worst part in this whole video. Was that it took him this long to ban him. It took him this long to take away the free speech. Jeez. Just because I disagree with him, not everything he says is right, and everything he says is wrong, but he definitely has the he had highlighted the points that he's really wrong. Sandy Hook stuff was awful. That's not going to age well either. However, let him say his goofy shit. Otherwise, when you ban him, it gives it credit. Oh, it's so frustrating. He's so wrong, and it's so easy to debunk Alex Jones, because you just have all these sources, and he doesn't have anything other than his imagination. But then instead of doing any of that, because that would take too much work or whatever, you just ban him. And then all of a sudden, these goofy allegations and these goofy ideas he has have merit now. Just like that. Just when you ban a person, so that makes it seem like what he's saying is truer, even though it's the same BS as he's been saying for years. It's just people need to not play identity politics, because it so helps the corporations. Because when it's left versus right, it's not like people who make $10 an hour versus people who make $250 million a month. It's so ridiculous.
And that's the most of the voice I'm going to do. As far as my real opinion, I'm personally surprised it took so long for Alex Jones and InfoWars to be banned.
His ideas are stupid. Let him stay on the platform and let other people debunk him. It is easy to debunk Alex Jones' BS, alright? It takes like 5 minutes of Googling, alright? And you can find sources and videos, and you just throw them at him, and then he's got nothing at that. He either lies more or he just ignores it. And that's pretty much what he's been doing since Sandy Hook. And then you ban him, and then now all of a sudden people are like, maybe that's right, and it's not, and you're giving him credit, and then this guy here is like, oh, it took him this long to ban him, and it's like, oh.
As far as my real opinion, I'm personally surprised it took so long for Alex Jones and InfoWars to be banned.
Philip is... I used to trust you, Philip. I really did. Maybe a little too much, but I think YouTube has corrupted Philip too much. I think his show's popularity, mixed with YouTube's bias, equals Philip's corruption. So now, Philip, you have to remember in the future, Philip YouTube has got him in his pocket. You know what I mean? Like, YouTube is going to watch his videos and make sure he does the stories they want him to do. Another conspiracy theory, no, but he definitely has some ties to YouTube. He definitely gets promoted by the algorithm and all that.
As far as my real opinion, I'm personally surprised it took so long for Alex Jones and InfoWars to be banned.
Philip, how many fake stories do you have to make on YouTube before you get banned? And do they all have to be right-wing, like, conspiracy theories? Or what about left-wing conspiracy theories? You could find those on YouTube too, but those don't get banned.
I am hyper aware of how incredibly hilariously memeable Alex Jones is, whether it be, they're turning the frogs gay.
You should make a story about turning the frogs gay, Philip. I'd like to hear your debunking of that turning the frogs gay story.
Or any of the other stuff. And the unfortunate side effect of that is we kind of minimize or normalize this person as kind of this ridiculous court jester, even though we're talking about this person with a massive audience who has put out massive fake news, like calling Sandy Hook a hoax.
Massive fake news. How many stories do you have to put out before it's massive fake news? Is it like 500 and only 250 is just normal massive fake news, and like 100's like just fake news? You need to define this stuff, because when you just say fake news, anybody can lie. If they lie once on their channel, is that fake news and then therefore should be banned? It's stupid, Philip. All right, think. It's so ridiculous. Philip is so narrow-minded on this. He knows that Alex Jones is wrong about stuff, clearly, Sandy Hook, per example, and then he has no sympathy when he gets banned, and then he says all this silly stuff like, it took him this long to ban him, and it's so ridiculous. It's so easy on the outside, but what happened if it was your channel, Philip? And Alex Jones was there, I can't, it took him this long to ban him, all this fake liberal news. It's so hypocritical of him, and it's just this video is going to age poorly. It already has, but give it more time and it'll age even worse.
And if I was in YouTube's position, YouTube was mine, I would not have given my megaphone to him.
Okay, well, apparently you and YouTube have a lot in common, right? Because they banned him, and you would have banned him. I think he's saying that just to suck up to YouTube, or someone from YouTube wrote that in.
But as far as my personal opinion of am I happy to see those guys gone, I'm honestly still trying to battle it out in my head.
Okay, let me explain something to you, Philip. Alright, you're battling out in your head. Okay, so you got one voice saying that it's fine to ban Alex Jones because you disagreed with him. And you got this other side, let's call that the logic side, saying that this is going to be awful for the future because companies are just going to ban people they politically disagree with, or even after that it's going to get worse and they're just going to ban people regardless if they disagree or agree with them based on money. Some companies are going to be like, hey Facebook, I'll write you a blank check, delete this entire channel. Or Facebook group. Same with YouTube, same with Spotify, same with you name it. And it's like 100 years from now, people are just going to hate this video, and I hate how they don't see it right now. Could you imagine if the state did this? Could you imagine if Trump paid Facebook and YouTube to, just get rid of this guy? Obviously they don't, they agree more on political stuff, but like, it could happen next election in the future. It's just, this sets an awful thing, but people are like, oh, Alex Jones is a goof, so therefore, fuck free speech. And it's just, you guys, you don't know what you're doing. Just give it 10 years and we'll be, there's tons more people are going to be banned based on political ideology and money. I'm telling you.
On one side of my brain, I have to acknowledge that all of these tech companies, they are private companies, they are well within their rights to remove someone from their platform, and it is not a violation of the First Amendment. They are deciding if they are going to give you their megaphone or not.
Okay, right. It's not a problem with the First Amendment, but let's say, the Trump campaign paid YouTube or Facebook to get rid of someone. Technically not, not against the First Amendment, technically. But we're in some hot water here. He's just trying to make it, it's just Alex Jones, whatever, just forget about it. He's a goof. Fine, he's a goof, but it's just, think about what this sets for the future. Philip?
And it appears that all of the companies are doing all of this. The conversation is not about fake news.
Yeah, that's, is it though? Is it, Philip? I think there's a portion of it in there. Because now companies get to determine fake news by banning or not banning certain people based on their ideas. Fake news is in the argument, Philip.
Because the argument there could always be, we thought we had it right, we had it wrong.
When you ban him, people start thinking that what he's saying is serious because, the establishment doesn't want people to see him. Don't give Alex Jones credit. Just let him say goofy crap. The internet will sort it out. Give it time. At first, his like-dislike ratio might be positive, okay? But over a long period of time, this Sandy Hook BS, all right, it's going to just deteriorate over time. People are going to keep chipping at his lie until it collapses, okay? That's how it works on YouTube and just the internet in general, all right? But when you ban him, you give him, people are curious, and they're like, why'd you ban him? Maybe what he was saying was right, just, stop doing that. Same with Milo, learn from history.
Or there's a certain thing that it's up for debate or it's an opinion. Whereas with harassment, you're not saying if something is true or not, you're just protecting someone. Right? The argument there is that you're removing an abuser.
Removing someone we politically disagree with, so that way we can peddle our narrative, and then eventually in the future it's just going to be bribes. It's just going to be, pay you, get rid of this guy from your platform because I don't like what he's saying.
Right, and in response to this, all the people that love Alex Jones and or InfoWars, they may never use these services ever again. Right, the free market decides.
All right, so Philip, don't give me that crap, all right? Milo said it, and he was wrong. You said it, you're wrong, okay? The free market is not some perfect system, all right? The free market needs regulations. It needs the government to make sure there's no foul play. There needs to be the EPA to make sure there's environmental protection. Otherwise, companies are just going to dump their sewage and, whatever waste products they have just in the river next door. And like Standard Oil, companies can play dirty and become a monopoly. And then there's a free market has one choice, and that's incredibly unfair for the consumer.
All of a sudden those people go, I don't want to support your private company, I'm going to go directly to him and support his private company. But on the other side of things, where these tech companies end up hurting themselves is with the vague reason.
They hurt themselves by banning people based on political beliefs, Philip, okay? The vague reasons are only there just so they can have an excuse to ban them. They already decided to ban them, and so they just look through conditions or whatever for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, it was pre-decided to ban him. Then they just went through some vague law, policies to ban him. All right, having some really well-defined policies would be nice, but having companies that didn't ban people on political beliefs would be better, or based on money.
They say harassment, glorifying violence, dehumanizing language.
So dehumanizing language, very bad. I agree. Should you take away their free speech from it? Because when you start taking away people's free speech, and they're going to start looking him up because they're like, this guy has something to say, even though he's wrong, but you're banning him, so you're giving him like some credit. Stupid.
But they almost never point to specific videos or specific posts. Now, most likely part of their specific reasoning here is when you point to specifics, you create definitive lines in the sand, and so if you have a bad actor that's trying to abuse your system, they kind of know where to take it to the line and still get across what they want to get across. But at the same time, it would be nice to know what the rules are so you know if you are breaking them or not. And so when you say something like hate speech towards Muslims or transgender people, what specifically did they say, and what do you deem as a company hate speech? Are you talking about slurs? Are you talking about people that have the opinion that a transgender person, that there's something mentally wrong with them? As a company, are you seeing that as an opinion, or are you seeing that as hate speech? Do you consider it hate speech if someone calls, let's say, a trans man a woman, right? They misgender, maybe it's on purpose, maybe it's on accident. And so the thing is, when these companies do not cite these specifics and they just read policy, it feels like they are setting up a system that can be easily abused. And while obviously we're talking about Alex Jones and InfoWars, which is an outlier, an extreme organization, comparatively, once again, my opinion, I feel it's understandable why there is fear and concern. Now understand when I say that I'm not equating all conservative outlets to InfoWars, but many conservative outlets do feel like they're being suppressed by a lot of these companies. And so it's that last part that, you know, while I'm not surprised that this happened, I'm just surprised that it took so long. While I am not personally a fan of Alex Jones or InfoWars, I'm not also celebrating this. When it comes to situations like this, I try to be analytical. I'm personally surprised it took so long for Alex Jones and InfoWars to be banned, because it's very easy to be swept away by, I think that person's horrible, yay.
I think that's just what he thought, and he's just projecting.
And so with all of that said, I do want to pass the question off to you. What is your takeaway from this? Are you happy that this is happening, that these companies are taking away their megaphone from his voice?
Am I happy they're taking away free speech? I am not happy they're taking away free speech, Philip.
Or no, you think that this is horrible or a slippery slope?
It is a slippery slope, Philip. Whatever part of your brain said the slippery slope part, ask that more questions.
Any and all opinions you have on this one, I'd love to hear from you.
The clip, this video probably is going to get demonetized because I use clips from his show, but I just don't want to paraphrase him and stuff. I just want to give you what exactly he said, exactly what I said, and then you can make up your own damn mind. All right? That's the beauty of the internet, is that you can see what someone says and then you can just make up your own mind. And then when you ban someone, you can't see what they say, so you can only get like different whiffs of what they say. It's just please learn from history. And Philip did an awful job at presenting the story. He has a very clear bias, sadly in favor of the companies getting rid of free speech. And it's just wait, because they're going to ban a couple more conservatives here and there, but then the real problem starts when they start banning people based on money and lobbying. The pharmaceutical companies have a great financial incentive to start banning people based on what they have to say about Medicare for all. All right, so clearly this sets a horrific standard for the future and for these companies. And YouTube is by far the mass giant on media, and they have a lot of influence of what people see and don't see. And the last thing they need is another financial bias, which they're gonna get in the future. Anyway, Philip DeFranco is wrong. Give it more time. This video's like-dislike ratio is just gonna go down the can. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video with some comments that I liked. So I don't like Alex Jones, but I think this is a bad idea. Sets a precedent that I'm not comfortable with. I agree completely. Alex Jones is a goof. He says a bunch of BS. Easy to debunk him. When you ban him, gives him credit. Swinging and a miss, Phil. Yep, I think that shows in the dislike bar. Philly D once again saying what his little friends at YouTube want him to. Ew. I wish it wasn't true, but gonna have to agree. The real question is, what if our political opinions are found to be hate speech and fake news tomorrow? Fantastic. I mean, everyone's version of fake news is different based on their own biases. So YouTube has a fairly left biased. Fine, whatever. Everybody has their own bias. It's fine. However, they shouldn't show that by banning people. Because it's eventually, imagine what Trump thought was fake news was banned. That's like 90% of media. Anything that didn't completely agree with him, fake news. And eventually YouTube is gonna do the same. Give it time. YouTube's gonna do the exact same. Except with whatever they think is fake news biased instead of Trump's fake news bias. It's so awful. Banning people is not how you shut them down, because it only makes people more curious about what they have to say. And Alex Jones' ideas are not scary. They're nothing to be scared of. They're so easy to debunk. 5 minutes on Google and you can disprove his Sandy Hook crap, his whatever he has to say. And if you say something right, then that's probably coincidence. Let him talk. Whatever. Let him be wrong. Internet is good melting pot of ideas. And the good ones float to the top, bad ones sink. The more time you give it, the more that difference is. Right? Even if it's a badly presented idea, it will float to the top. A well-presented bad idea, like what Philip DeFranco did. He has a big budget. He has a lot of crews. He's got a script. It will eventually just sink, and I'll give it a year, and his like-dislike bar will be negative, or the ratio will be in favor of the dislikes. And good.
But as far as my personal opinion of am I happy to see those guys gone, I'm honestly still trying to battle it out in my head. As far as my real opinion, I'm personally surprised it took so long for Alex Jones and InfoWars to be banned.
I'm Michael Jordan. Stop it. Get some help.